Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Could we actually change your mic, or can we check your mic, Wah, before you get mad? But we just don't know for sure.
It says It says this
Okay.
one.
You know what? Maybe it's also, I'll be honest, I'm so sorry. It could be that these are shitty headphones and now I have water in them. So now I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I wasn't doing you a disservice. Okay. We did
No,
it
but
again.
thank you. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Hey everyone, I'm Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of I'm sorry, I forgot what I couldn't think of the word.
I thought you were trying to think of something funny to talk about my hat. I thought you were trying to
No.
improv in the moment, and I was like,
Mm-mm.
historic?
Mm-mm. Okay, you guys, just so you know, Chris is looking like a scullery maid. For those of you who are on Patreon, she's back.
Hello!
Okay, hey guys, it's Wa.
And I'm Chris, and welcome to Docu Sweeties.
We're two longtime friends who discuss the riveting and sometimes trashy world of reality TV and docuseries.
Yes, but through our own lens, which is, listen, we're bad at accents, and we get comments all the time like these accents are not great, and we get that, but whatever, just trying to have fun. But through our own lens, which is trying to have fun and bad at accents. And at the end of the day, hopefully mildly sweet. Hi, look at this hat.
Hey,
Great.
totally sweet. Okay, 100% sweet. If you were
Mm-hmm.
wondering, overly
Mm-hmm.
sweet. Splenda, fake sweet.
Ooh,
Ooh,
great.
yeah. Okay, so today we're talking about 90 Day Fiancé, The Other Way, Season 5, The Tell All, Part 2. We're Sean Robinson. And we're doing a bad job this season. We're just looking back and forth, and we're like, wait a minute, I don't watch this show. So can you explain what happened, Holly? Well, I don't really know what happened. I mean, I haven't talked to him in like 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I mean, what it was actually, can I be honest? I've watched all 3 parts of this. It's great. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Whatever. It's great. I like the whole tell-all. Sorry.
Cut that out, Christina. Christina, cut that out.
I'm like, should we just start the whole thing over again? Have I made every mistake?
No.
Okay.
Christina, cut that out. She hasn't watched all 3 episodes. She's
No,
only
okay. So this is, yeah, I have a feeling it's all going to be such a great
I've
3-part
got a feeling. Woo.
that it's gonna be a great 3-part tell-all. That it's gotta be a great 3-part tell-all. That it's gotta be a great 3-part tell-all. It's hard to say. So I messed up so many times. So Julio and Kirsten.
Who cares?
That's
Who
what you
cares?
said. That's what you said.
Yeah.
But obviously, it's like a bunch of him coming with receipts that she has cheated on him with this guy that she calls Poppy and has an accent and we don't know who he is. And then she calls him and is like, see, I'm not, because why would I call him? Which is just whatever. And everyone's like, this is the dumbest. And that's why Wah said, who cares? And it was the dumbest. And, Julio doesn't come out looking better from this. He kind of comes out looking like a little prissy, kind of I'm trying to make it seem like she's not the victim. I don't know. Just move on.
Yeah, he's grasping at straws, truthfully. And it just feels like, okay, what's the point of all this? The point is that you've now found another boo and you've moved on. So why are you here trying to besmirch her? For ratings, for people to be on your side in the 90-day universe? No one remembers you, and we won't remember you. You're not a key player. You're not a key player. So let's move on. Okay. Johan and Pedro are still our favorite Dominicans. So
yes, it's true.
Sorry, Julio.
Basically, after that, there's a Kane Armando part that talks about things we also, God bless, we want the best for them, but we're not like, oh, we can't wait to talk about this, which is basically like that a surrogate problem. They had one, she bounced. So see what happens.
And it was really hard for me and Armando. And I asked Tim for advice. And yes, Tim, you are very close to Kenny. Did you give Kenny any advice No. Yes, he did. Well, I mean, I told Kenny that it seemed like he didn't want to have the kid and not to do it because Armando wanted to. Well, I said that I didn't want to at the time, but now I do. I mean, that's how I had my first kid. My triplets is from surrogacy. And I was like, wow, back in like the 80s, they had surrogacy? I mean, how much did he pay for it then?
Well,
Has he always been rich?
yeah, I mean, he did well, I guess. Yeah, Tim, again, like, thank God someone said in Patreon who I wanted to say he looks like. He looks like Mystique from the Pickup Artist. I mean, Tim comes in with eyeliner, honey, like Brittany, like, has slept the night before, like, just underneath them eyes, just like, what is happening, Tim? You're so crazy. But maybe that's his look aesthetic, and I shouldn't yuck someone's yum. And he's, like, he's been doing it, but he loves this look, so yeah, they really want to paint like, Kenny and Tim as friends. This is a cute part. At one point they skip in later, but and yeah, Tim is like, don't do it. And then Armando has to like tell him off, whatever, God bless. So let's get into actual better parts. So then
Wait, I just
they
want to say one
break.
thing.
Oh,
I just
go
want to
ahead.
say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Isn't it very old fashioned of Kenny to try to make it seem that a gay man and a straight man can have a platonic friendship and not have it be around their sexuality, as though like that's some new like fangled type relationship? I want to say, first of all, there are gay men and straight men right now who have great relationships that have known each other from childhood, who are friends. One, two, and also Tim is yes, sexually straight, but also like non-sexually somewhere in the middle, right?
Well, I don't want to say that it's Kenny doing it. I want to say that's everyone doing it. I feel like they're all very happy to, like the producers love that there's friends between the
Yeah.
old cast members, that there's a camaraderie. They can like, go on social media and show, and like, when they post pictures and they tag each other in the feed, it probably gets more visibility. It's everything. So, I mean, listen, these OG cast members are on this for a reason. We don't know exactly why, but anyway, I want to get into threesome so bad part.
Go ahead.
By the way, I had this here and I hate it. So anyway, God bless. So anyway, so what happens is they go to break and they go afterwards and they play the like, never have I ever with like three fingers up. Tanya is like, sober or straight, always going to be the instigator, any sort of like sexual thing, that's like Tanya comes in with like this kind of energy. And she's like, never have I ever like had a threesome. And then Tim's like, I've had a threesome with someone in this cast. And everyone, and like literally Kehlani just is like, oh my God, takes the bait because she's like, who'd you fuck? Was it David and Annie? Like she's just like going to other cast members. And then like Tanya's like, oh wait, are you talking about Veronica? And he's like, yeah, and then Danielle says the same thing. So did I. And it's like, Danielle then did with Johan. And then I start to think, well, did that happen on one of the spiritual retreats? Like what happened? And like, who did she have a threesome with? God bless. So then Andre also had a threesome, he said. Did you catch that?
Oh no, I didn't catch that.
Okay, well, I'm here for you.
I'm
here for you, so.
I mean, I want to know who Tim and Veronica had a threesome with.
That's true.
Yeah. And I want to know who Johan and Danielle had a threesome with. Like, I still want to know.
Oh, yeah. No, we definitely want to know, like, yes.
Yes. Like, I want to know. Just a feeling. I want to know. Okay. Anyways, go ahead.
I thought you were singing, how do I know? But
yeah, that is.
Oh, okay.
But I just said I want to know.
I got you. Anyway, so basically come back after that, like, this is an off-camera moment, as if they're taking a break, but all they're doing is just filming in a different location, just for like, like some energy shift and, whatever. They go back on set, and then Danielle tells everyone that she only 2 weeks ago saw Johan. So like they're not together, but they saw each other 2 weeks ago. People are like, what? And they had dinner with his family.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to be known as the type of person who doesn't talk to her exes, which is so weird and pick me in a weird way. Not pick me, but it's so weird. And like, she wants to keep the energy of, I have good relationships with all my exes and she loves his family. And so then we start talking about how he wanted his lifestyle to change and it didn't happen. And Armando is like, you know, I was on your side this whole time and I need you to say something right now so that I can continue being on your side. And Johan's like, I don't care what anyone says. And Armando's like, all right, well then fuck you.
Yeah.
Of course you rode on in. And I felt the same way as Armando. I was literally on Johan's side the whole time. And as soon as he had that conversation with his cousin in the gym, I was like, fuck, bro.
Yes. Yep.
Damn.
Yeah, he could have really kept it under wraps, but he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't. And now he's like, I don't care. And then we find out that his mother and his sisters, I mean, from Danielle, so like, is it true? They all have a bunch of jobs and it feels like maybe the men don't. I don't know. Like, that's the way she painted it. And so she wants to maintain a relationship with these women. But I'm like, girl, they're going to start asking you for money if they haven't already. So you should like exit stage left immediately. So it just seems weird that everyone, his family knows that he is just like on the hunt for the big ticket American who's going to either give him money for a certain lifestyle and or bring him to the States so that he can work and send money back, which isn't bad, but that woman needs to understand that, like Manuel and Ashley, that's what he's coming, that money needs to be sent back home, period, point blank, end of story.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it gets worse and worse. Basically, Danielle is just like, honey, went in. She came home and they have pool floats and they pool floats moved. And she's like, who moved those pool floats? Did anyone over? Whenever she has a crazy accent, you know, that's not like
all of a sudden, like it's been there, but then every time she gets upset, it comes out, right? But then on this tell-all, it's full blown. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yes.
How dare you say that to me right now? You think that that's going to happen? No, anyone who ever knows me know that I would never tell a man that he doesn't have to work. I've even made my son work. As soon as he was 15, I took him down to the office and got him a permit so he could go and work because I wasn't going to take care of him anymore because he was an able-bodied human being. I took him to work. I was like, girl, calm down.
She like turns into Melissa. She's like Melissa from Live After Lockup of Louis. Yeah. But basically, he's like, no. And then he's like, oh yeah, you know, like my cousin came over and she's like, you guys don't fucking just like float on pool floats. And then what she does is she goes like, I went in on Facebook. So what I did is, by the way, a lot of shit happens on Facebook for people that I'm like, what? You guys are on Facebook? Anyway, God bless. Yes, we're on Facebook. She goes and adds every woman on his account, but before she does, she takes stock of them, like almost in a little Excel spreadsheet, and then I put my stuff on do not disturb. I guess I did not. Anyway, so basically, I'm so sorry. I forgot where I was. Okay. She's on Facebook. She adds all of his female friends. She opens this Excel spreadsheet and every person she records, whether they accepted her or whether they blocked her. And the ones that they blocked, she went in even more to realize that like he probably had relationships with them. It's brilliant.
I mean, it is brilliant. I would never do that because it doesn't matter to me. But the truth is that you shouldn't have to do that. You were only married to him for less than a year. So what's the purpose? What's the point? Just get out of that and move on. That's what I say, personally.
We really want her to, but she also hangs hard on the fact that she was, you know, obviously not beloved by any sort of like audience of this show in any season. So I think that there's a lot of her wanting so badly to have redemption for that, you know?
Oh, she won't because her actions are isolated. Her actions are isolated to just her behavior to him when he was putting his best foot forward and she knew nothing. So she says that he had 50 to 60 women who were thinking that he was in a relationship with them. And I said, well, if that was the case, then he would have been rolling in money and no need to leave you in the first place. I don't think that's true. 50 to 60 women is a full-time job. I mean, you're texting people all day, every day. She would have noticed. 50 to 60?
It's a lot. It's a lot of women. It's a
That's a
lot.
lot. 10 women take up too much time. 50 to 60. I'm like, Danielle, okay, that's ridiculous.
I can like barely talk to 3 people on Hinge.
Yes.
I mean, barely. Like, and I'm like, one of them I don't care about. I'm just like, you're about to die. Like you're about to get kicked off. I'm so bad at, I'm really a one person. And I mean that. Like, I'm monogamous to my core. I can't, like I've lived my whole life jumping from like codependent relationship to codependent relationship. Like, I can't wait to just like settle down with one and just like body pillow, like fuse myself with that person for the rest of my life. I mean, is that weird?
Body pillow. Just
Um,
a very like specific image. Yeah, so she calls the apartment that they lived in like a horror hotel, like because it's close to the hotel that he used to work at. And she's like, I was so stupid. I thought that you knew what to do. And I'm just like, girl, nobody feels bad for you. No
mhm,
one feels bad for you because we all said that your choice to be with him was a bad idea.
mhm,
Like, no
mhm.
one thought being with him was good. So we don't feel bad for you. And this is what happens when you do what you do. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, obviously there's a back and forth between all the cast members and everyone's sort of like, jumping in and talking. So, um, basically again, like Armando gets to go in for Johan in a great way in Spanish, and Johan basically, after being pushed to find out like what he's been doing and if he's scamming and whatever, he like puts his hands up and he's like, he literally says, "Go to hell" 40 billion times during this, which means Diablo, which is like, this is, for someone who doesn't speak all the Spanish, this is like LOL. Like, I haven't heard the word Diablo that much, like in life outside of like, this is going to sound so horrible, as a adjective to describe like things and not in a mean way. So it's like, oh, this hot sauce is Diablo or something like that, like hell, like in a good way. Like, I have never heard like, you know, va a Diablo or something like that, or like Diablo te va, or it's like to hell you go, I guess. And it's just like he says it so much and with such anger, and he like does not give a fuck. Like he's being exposed in a crazy way, and he's never really known how to, I think, move with a lot of like understanding of how of being on television, or of how he is,
Oh
like,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
he's no Jasmine. He's not skilled.
He doesn't have the
Savvy.
yes,
Yeah, no, he's not savvy at all.
at all.
Mm-mm.
Because if he was, he could make legitimate money doing the same shit. He's hot as hell, right? Like,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
mean, I'm not saying that I'm gonna like jump down his pants, but like this man is
Are you not
objective.
saying that? Sounds like you're saying that, Chris.
Well, I'm just saying, I actually let's be honest, I'm not into him especially. I've never really been into him because he's not like a nice person. His like personality has never been charming ever. I need like a charming personality. I need like someone, I need like some like charm. I need like even like Manuel of like Ashley and Manuel. At least he gives me a little like banter back and forth. Johan, not ever. So,
Mhm.
but God bless. So, having said that, he is objectively an attractive man that like works out. Like, you could just monetize your IG. You could just sell products. You could just do weird fitness plans. You could just do life coaching. You could just do cameos. Like, there's so many things he could do, w- where instead he's like, no, what I'm going to do is scam women out of money, which sucks.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, it does. Uh okay, so now we move on to Yesh and Kim. So we go back to them.
Yeah,
And for some reason I thought that Yesh was going to come out and say what he truly feels, and he didn't. He came out and defended his sister-in-law, which was not interesting, but interesting at the same time.
you know, I think that there was a lot. I think that it was really respectful of his
Mhm.
brother and family, and it was actually probably one of the more dignified and gentlemanly or classy things I've seen. But
Mhm.
she, yeah, it's so funny because she obviously had her whole moment in episode 1, and like, like, it's funny when she really disappears because Shekinah starts to take a lot more center stage in 2 and 3. Shekinah starts to go in on every woman possible, like a laser in the night, where it's like, oh shit, where I think in half of her mind, she's like, well, I'm not going to go after the men because I'm a female. Like, I think that there's a part of her that's like not just like Dom sub and like alpha and she wants a man. There's also some part of her that's also, I think, red pill or something where she is like super traditional, where she's like, I won't speak to a man and a man should not speak to me, but I can go after the women. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
That's what my theory is.
Like, meaning she could have said something to Johan, but then didn't. Oh, wait, I don't know. I'm just asking.
She seems to be very comfortable to articulate criticism towards women, as well as not only towards the women, take the men's side.
Okay.
To Holly, she's like, you're too emotional. Now, I'm not saying that she's always wrong, but to Holly, she's like, you're too emotional. You weren't giving him what he needed. Why would he call you? He's just going to hear you complain. To, let me think, to Danielle, she's very confrontational. She's, to Kimberly, literally, she hates Kimberly, like, and I'm not
Okay.
saying she's half right for a lot of these things too.
Yeah.
But but she's a calculated move, I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay. I'm noticing that. But it's interesting that Sarper does say some sexist things and she tries to like defend him.
Mhm.
And it's like, no, girl, don't defend him. Just let him fall down that well. Just let him fall down that well. And then when it's time to get him out to kiss for kisses, just pull him up. But like, let him fall down on his own. She's like, what he's trying to say is, and I was like, don't woman-splain it. He knows what he's saying.
Yeah, he's like, it's funny because you can see her face literally melt off when they play him talking about things. Like, she knows how it sounds. She like, so it's like, she's just like standing up straight. Actually, we're like, like by the way, she got a nose job, and she got a Lana Del Rey looking nose.
Oh.
She did a live where she took off all her makeup and it was still swelling, and I posted on the Docu Sweeties Instagram.
Oh, you did? I just didn't know what we were looking at.
Yeah, well, I didn't give a lot of context. I just reposted.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. I just like, oh, she doesn't have any makeup on. Okay, it's cool.
So, basically Kim is being a nightmare and it's just like, well, I apologize for the tone of talking about how she reacted, but she needed things the ways they happen. She like never takes any responsibility. We move on to Holly. Holly lets it drop that while she was in South Africa, she put things on her credit card to help Wayne's business. And now that debt has to be paid, she obviously can't work there. It's one of the reasons in her mind why she gets to be in America, to like work off to pay that debt. And also her mom was sick.
Okay, I have a question. Do you feel, because he like completely goes into his turtle shell and can't be brought out, do you feel that she did the wrong thing by mentioning that?
No.
Okay. I don't either, but I guess I just thought like maybe I'm being, I don't know, wrong for that, because he's not saying it. He's just like, she abandoned me, Holly didn't come back and I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, like when she said that, I'm like, oh, and then he's like, now you're saying I'm not a man and I can't take care of you. You mentioned all this, and she's like, I'm not saying that you can't take care of me. I'm saying that you're having financial issues and I can't work in South Africa and I need to work to pay this off. And then you could come and visit me. And he won't even consider coming to visit. He's like being really ridiculous, not even considering. Yeah, he's behaving like a giant jackass baby. Like, it's
people are calling him out. People are like, you're rude.
Yeah, it's very interesting that he is just doubling down, even when people are like, hey, Wayne, would you not even consider it? He's like, no, America's not for me. And I'm like, why? Why? Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, yes, there's a lot of Americans who would say, "Yeah, I'm not interested in go." No, I wouldn't say it like that. They're like, "Yeah, I'm not interested in going to Africa. I'm not going to Africa at all. You know, just black people in Africa. I'm not going." But I get that. But like, there's like a couple of places that those kind of Americans can go. They can go to Canada, they can go to Australia, and they can go to South Africa. They can go to certain places where people speak English and where things are written in English. And so it just feels weird that his wife is in an English speaking place where he would have room and board and food, and he wouldn't go visit her for at least a week and a half or such just to see how she's doing, simply because he's like, I'm never moving there.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels really, really weird.
They didn't marry people that are good for them. They married ideas of who they thought they were. Like, okay, so, this whole time as this Holly Wayne thing's happening, Holly is crying, 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 God bless. And she's very emotional. And he obviously, as we were saying, like, doesn't care, doesn't really like, isn't being like, Holly, I feel bad. He then says, basically that the entire time she would call him being depressed and crying, and he would just have to hear that, and it would just be hard. So the last 3 weeks, he like has not been on top of getting his phone like fixed or whatever. And that's a point of contention for the cast. They're like, if you love her, you would get your phone fixed, and he doesn't really want to like get her back on that phone. And so this is like what's happening, as well as obviously she doesn't want to go back there. And he wants to be like, I tried for Holly, like nothing's good enough. Like, I'm a man, like I got it safe and there was lights. And she's like, no, I was never safe, buddy. I didn't feel that safe, buddy. And like that's making him feel bad. And he obviously has a lot of ego attached to providing, because he's also like they're also in this hyper old traditional kind of like man woman gender role thing that's like to the point that it's like laughable, because they don't know each other, like they're not good for each other, and they're just like trying to play roles. I mean, I really feel that way. Like,
Yeah, but isn't that what the traditional situation is? Like, to me, the traditional situation is you get into a marriage with somebody you don't know and you tough it out.
well, why do you have to not know them? Why can't you know them and then just have the values that are similar to, like, if your values are to do the provider beauty thing or whatever the fuck it is, then why can't you just see that you work it out for, like, see that you like each other first? And one of the things is that you have the same value, as opposed to just jumping in without knowing each other. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not. Okay, so I just want to preface this. I'm not arguing with you specifically, Chris Farah.
Oh, I know.
I'm saying that like the whole idea of the trad wife or the traditional marriage is that the courtship is all flowers and all you're getting to know each other on a very surface level.
Is it? But
Right?
why aren't you having conversations about what your values are and what you want? Why
They
can't you
are.
vet?
I think
Oh.
they are, and those values are on the surface, but you don't know like the deep things about people. Like, I think that when you do have those conversations, someone who hasn't done the work to understand how they shut down when they get upset isn't going to be able to explain to someone they're getting married to, when I get upset, I don't want to be spoken to for 10 days, or I don't want to be spoken to for 48 hours or whatever. And then that person has to be like, well, that doesn't work for me, or that does work for me. Like, I think that traditionally people got married at like 18 or 19. You don't know yourself. Like, you don't know what it is that you want. You don't know how, but your values are aligned. You both go to the same church. You both have the same ideas of what marriage should be. Like, and so people just toughed it out and like worked on it. And so I think that's what these two people thought they were going to do. But they're now both in their 40s, both have a means of escape. That's one thing traditional people didn't have. Do you know what I mean? That's another thing traditional people didn't have. So the truth is that yes, if they had this traditional idea of what marriage is, that's true. But then Holly wouldn't have a way of leaving. She would, ooh, thumbs up. She would just have to figure it out and deal with Wayne in whatever way Wayne came to her. Like that's what all of these traditional wives did. I love it when, like, I don't know, again, not talking about you. I love it when people are like, oh, I want to go back.
I'm not a traditional wife, even though I'm wearing a traditional hat. I'm not a
No,
wife.
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you. That's why I keep saying, prefacing, I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm saying that people who often harken back to like the 40s and the 30s about traditionals and how come your grandmother stayed married and blah, blah, blah. They stayed it because most of the time, and I'm not saying in all instances, but a lot of these women were not happy. Like they just stayed it because of religion or family or whatever, that you were just supposed to live through these times and be married because it was a sense of status, especially during times when women couldn't own property or like themselves. Their fathers gave them away to this man to take care of. So, anyways, that's why their relationship isn't working, because Holly has options and rights.
You are absolutely right. Now, here's the thing. So then Tanya goes in on Wayne. Shekinah goes in on Holly. Half of me is like, do you think the producers like tell them to like, like assert this point of view? Like, Tanya, we know you're, like, you're not into this. Like you go, I just feel like there is such natural conflict and contention and people like know who to go in for. I feel like it's a lovely produced segment. I feel like Shekinah was produced to do the things she did in this tell all, and I don't know, and she did them. She executed them with like a Meryl Streep-esque level of sharpness.
Yeah, you know what? I would agree with you. That's a very astute point, Chris, because the truth is that she has been looking for a reality show franchise to dig her claws into for the better part of the aughts and the last 10 years. So I want this for her. If she's going to be our new darling, let her replace Danielle and Tanya. Okay?
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So basically after this, Holly gets up, runs out, and is like, sad, sad, sad. And Armando cries many times during this, but one time he cries is I'm sorry, I mean Kenny. Kenny cries during this tell all a lot. But one part is right now where he's like, and God bless, he like wants to tell Wayne, to like be able, this is the beautiful part. He wants to tell Wayne that he can be a man and comfort his emotional, his partner, and it not be, like looked down as a weakness, but as, like a sense of connection. So he talks about how, of course, Armando, when they first met, had gone through the tragedy of like his baby mama / wife, like perishing and being, like a sole provider and caregiver for his like brand new daughter. And obviously he was gay and he had to like come out. It was all very intense for him. And, we totally get that. And that Kenny was there for Armando during that time. And that's what really made sure that they could be a couple, because they had weathered that storm together, which is kind of like what you were saying, Wahama, like they did not weather this first storm together as a couple, like, which maybe that's like a testament of like, maybe you're never going to know someone full out when you get married to them, especially you might have weathered some storms, but there are new storms as they come. And the thing about when I guess you're with someone is if you make a connection where you're like, we are going to try and do this shit together. But Holly and Wayne never even seemed like they were ever on a similar page or boat. They both seemed in like a fantasy land where she's like, I've been there once. I run in graves. I'll go there. It'll be fine. He'll take care of me. Now she says something, I think, later on, that's one of my favorite quotes of the entire tell all. So we'll get that later in part 3.
Oh, okay.
But that I didn't watch yet. Anyway, God bless. So, but I think it's going to happen. So anyway, God bless. I'm like, a clairvoyant. Claire Danes, Claire Huxtable. Anyway, Kimberly like has, by the way, taken a backseat. So, basically we'll just see what happens with them. But I like this tell all. Well, anything else to say about it?
No, this was a good one. All right, you guys, thank you so much. If you would like to see the fun visuals of what you've been listening to right now, you can join us on patreon.com/DocuSweeties for $10 a month. We see all you new people and we love you for it. Thank you so much for joining us. You get exclusive content like a live every first Monday of the month, plus other fun little content. You get the episode as soon as we are done with the visuals, that is. And then you can listen to the free feed on the regular stuff. But if you would like to support us in other ways, Chris will tell you how you can do that on the free stuff.
Yeah, first of all, give us 5 stars wherever you're listening to a Spotify and or whatever this Apple podcast, wherever you want to do it, and give us a happy comment. We really would appreciate it. Also, we're on social medias. We are at DocuSweeties on Instagram, at DocuSweeties on TikTok. We are at DocuSweeties1 on X, and also we are on Facebook, which I guess is where Johan and Danielle do a lot of their work. So you can find us also if you guys are there in the Hanky Panky group. But it is the DocuSweeties podcast Facebook group. We love you guys so much. Happy holidays. Hope all is well. We'll be back. Okay.
Bye.